Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be answering the question, are the turbos in CPM2 realistic? Let's find out. For this project, I'll be using the BMW X5, equipped with the S58 engine. I'll be keeping the fuel system parts stock, since they increase horsepower, which is not realistic. We're now going to get a baseline of what power it makes without a turbo. So now, we have our non-turbo horsepower. This will be important very soon. Next, we will get our power with the turbo and fuel system upgrades. But first, we're going to find out what amount of boost the turbo makes, corresponding to the engine RPM. I'm going to be driving the car in 4th gear to get smooth and slow acceleration. This will allow me to get a detailed look at the boost gauge while the engine climbs through the RPM. Okay, for simple explanation, we made our first bar of boost at about 4,200 RPM, and full boost, which is 1.6 bar at 6,000 RPM. All the way from 6,000 RPM to red line was full boost. Using the information provided, I managed to create a graph. On the x-axis is RPM, and on the y-axis is the amount of boost the turbo makes at that RPM represented in bar. Now, with all the fuel parts installed along with the turbo, we will measure the horsepower. It is important to note that only the torque is important in this case, as torque times RPM is equal to horsepower. So now we see that we have made 2229 horsepower and 2,419 Newton meters of torque. Now we will take the non-turbo power numbers from earlier and subtract it from our horsepower obtained with the turbo. Now here's where it might get a little bit complex. I'm asking you to stay with me. Now we can start finding the answer to our question. Now we know that we have 780 Newton meters at 7,000 RPM, 2310 Newton meters at 7,000 RPM, and 1.60 bar of boost at max boost. Now we need to subtract 780 from 2310 to get the horsepower increase that we get from 1.60 bar of boost. The formula is as follows. Let's continue. By subtracting 780 from 2310, we get 1530, and that is the amount of horsepower we gained at max boost, which is 1.60 bar. It is important to note that there will sometimes be power losses. Now, let's recalculate the horsepower and torque curve using the boost graph we got. To make things simple, for myself, I used Assetto Corsa's power lookup table. Since it was easier, this is the result. Now, even though I am pleased with what I see, this isn't exactly how it's supposed to look. On the left is the CPM2 boost curve, and on the right is a more realistic boost curve. There is no big single turbo that starts spooling for that long before reaching peak boost. So what changes did I make? If we overlay the graphs, you can see where the realistic turbo starts spooling at 4,000 RPM as opposed to the CPM2 model at 2,000 RPM. This makes turbo spool up more aggressive, as is the nature of big turbo setups. You can also see that peak boost is reached at 500 RPM earlier for a little realism. So a question you probably are asking is, what would this look like on the S58 horsepower and torque curve? Here's your answer. Now, if you know anyone that has seen a dyno graph of a big turbo car, they'd probably say that this is the more realistic one. I'll compare it to some real-life big turbo dyno graphs, and you let me know in the comments if you think this more realistic / better. Here are a few different examples of big turbo dyno graphs. I'll be comparing them to the CPM2 and the more realistic dyno graph. I'm gonna first off say that this is very good to see. In terms of turbos, all they need to do is change the boost curves and add turbo lag, then add anti-lag to combat it. This ensures that the turbos behave close to real life, but at the same time being a little more forgiving. Also, it seems that turbos no longer make effective boost as soon as they hit peak boost. This is slightly unrealistic. Thank you for watching. Please give your feedback on the video. On videos you'd like to see or topics you'd like me to cover, I'd be more than happy to do so. Soon, I'll be releasing more videos based around CPM2 and engines, so look out for that. Once again, thanks for watching. Comment 2 lag so I can see who the real supporters are. See you in the next video.